because I always looked at them like they were the thing
to make,
that if I gave them my purpose and gave them my potential, they would take it, shape it, help me become like them, if not better than them.
Yeah.
I had to learn that that was my potential problem. Welcome back to Aspire Higher with Charles and Yvana Bailey. We're the show that gives you inspiration and pushes you into your maximized potential, ultimately so you can find your purpose and then accelerate other people's lives. Hey, have a great episode, but before we start, we want you to do us a favor. If you haven't, or if you have, do it again just to make us feel better. Hit that like button. Hit the subscribe button. Please share. If you're getting anything from these episodes, if you have questions, if you want to join in the conversation, don't be shy. Again, this whole podcast, this whole YouTube is about challenging you so you can be a part of the growth and propulsion of others. So please join in on the conversation. All right. And we look forward to having more opportunities to discuss new things with you. So good day. You look good.
Thanks.
I said you look like a beautiful flight attendant. I can't see my wife. She has a beautiful scarf around her waist, and she always looks fly. She's a confidence coach, and a lot of her clients, she helps them dress. I mean, she looks amazing.
Profiling.
She helps me too, by all means.
That's right.
But today we're going to talk a little bit about a topic that is going to be more sensitive. So if you're with us for the first time, and if not, we're going to bear a little bit more of our souls on this one. So hopefully you'll be able to see yourself in it. But we're going to talk a little bit about ownership, but not from the perspective that many people hear it.
All right.
We're going to talk about it from our own side of our experiences, which we write about in our book, The Flight of Your Life, The Power of Propulsion.
Yes.
One of the first things I will say is a lot of times I've noticed in my own life, not just in my clients, and also in the generation we're in, we struggle with ownership.
Yeah.
Taking ownership of our own destiny, taking ownership of our career choice and path, taking ownership of our attitudes, mindsets, generational mindsets, things that we get from our the people that come before us.
Right.
We don't like to take the responsibility. We don't like to have the feeling that maybe there's something wrong with us, even if they're looking around at it, isn't really anything perceivably wrong with us.
Okay.
Do you understand what I mean by that? Very cool. Very cool. There's some interesting experiences that you and I have both walked through. We say this all the time because we're very transparent on the show. We've gone through hurts, but we don't speak about it from the perspective of look at us, pity us, and et cetera. We speak about it from triumph. Right. We always say, even when we coach our clients, it's okay to acknowledge the hurt. Right. But we also have to use knowledge and wisdom to get over the hurt.
That's right.
And then we have to have purpose, because the reason why we're going through that is because there's something we're supposed to do with it.
Of course.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things that I wanted to talk about was potential problems. Mm-hmm. We always talk about maximizing potential on this show. And one of the things that we have to make sure that if you're listening or watching, you understand is that your potential can actually be your problem.
Oh yeah.
Man, look, I felt like, those preachers when they drop that title of that message and they just stop, the whole crowd's like, whoa! But no, seriously.
It can.
Your potential could actually be your problem. Right. Now, for some of you that are listening, you're like, holy crap. First of all, that in itself, if you just take time to think about it,
of course,
it should scare you a little bit.
Right.
Because what if the thing that makes you so unique and so good is the thing that creates the challenge and the problems and the circumstances that you're facing in your life?
Yeah.
What happens when the gift that you have doesn't put you on the path to promotion like you thought, but it puts you on a path to persecution?
Oof.
Come on, like
that's tough.
I know tough. I'm speaking good. If we don't say anything else, whoever's feeling this, they probably can feel it in the soul. There's a resonation that happens on the depths of us, because now I'm crying out to the deep depths of humanity, like who we are. So in our lives, it's fair to say that life isn't always fair.
Absolutely.
And it's even more fair to say that even if you have a fair shake, the people who may be in I would say a particular position over your path may not be fair either.
Absolutely.
And that has been what we've experienced the most. But most importantly, it was the lesson that we had to learn that was the greatest.
Right. Well, speak about it.
All right. Well, I've been speaking a lot, but I'll keep on going here. All right. Well, I can recall earlier in my career having the vision of what success was going to look like for me.
Okay.
And I remember being the person that always left a memorable impression, always had a good word spoken over my name and reputation.
Okay.
I even remember one time, there's two things I'll share. My coach in college said to me, when another athlete said something, I can't remember what comment they made on the off chance, but he said, "You better be careful how you treat Bailey." He said, "Bailey's special." He said, "He might just end up becoming governor of Mississippi." That's literally what he said to me. And, you always tell people on the show, because I'm the mayor, I've never met a stranger. I could talk with and meet with anyone, but I'll never forget, on top of that, he would give me lessons about champions. And he said, you can always tell a champion when they walk in the room.
Absolutely. You could feel it.
You can feel it.
Absolutely.
It was probably 10 years after I graduated that he told me, says, "Bailey, you're a winner." He said, "I have confidence in it." We still keep in touch. My old coach 20 years ago, and he said, "You're a winner." And the reason why I'm saying this is because he said, when a champion walks into a room, you can see it in the way they walk and talk, how they carry themselves.
Right.
He said, even if they hadn't won a thing,
right,
you can tell they're a champion.
Right.
Because they own it.
Right. And the weight of who they are is
the
evident.
The weight of who they are is evident.
Right.
So I'm setting this up on purpose to say that I was the person that up to this point found that I could overcome the obstacle, please excuse me, of the limitations of my upbringing, the state and the state of the state that I grew up in.
Right.
Because I felt that I was destined to succeed at everything.
Right.
And when I mean it didn't matter what it was, at everything.
Right.
Because I had come to a point in my life where I was that confident, and I wasn't cocky. It wasn't like any of those things. I was the guy that would sit with the people that no one else would sit with,
right.
But here's why I said that. I had to preface all of that.
Okay.
Because despite me being a winner, being a champion, being well liked and well respected, I thought that was going to be my ticket to success in the eyes of people that I would work for. And I didn't realize once I actually grew up, do you see?
Matured, yeah.
And I actually got into, as people would say, the real world.
Right.
That sometimes the things that made you great are the things that people hate.
Right.
And I can never, ever forget the lessons that I learned. And there was a period of time, it wasn't my whole career, but there was this, I think it was it a 3-year period? You've been with me this whole time, but it was like a 3 or 4 year period where I would work myself to the level that the employer that I worked for had never seen before. And here's crazy. So much so that their boss and their boss, all the way up to the president or CEO, would know my name because of the work I produced.
That's right.
And they would want to spend time with me privately because of what they saw in me.
Right.
But that created issues with the person that they left in responsibility over my position. And they felt threatened. Now, I'm saying this because this is something that's real. Sometimes your potential could actually be threatening the people who, for whatever reason, were trusted and entrusted to help guide that potential.
Right, right. I think I definitely can resonate with that. And I used to work as a COO in a company, and it was such a great experience, and it was such an overwhelming opportunity to utilize your passion. It was my passion.
Yeah.
And just fulfill a role, fulfill a role to the highest ability and capability that I had. But sometimes that attracts the wrong energy, the wrong, man, there's so many words I could say, but it's just
wrong.
Wrong.
It's just wrong.
Because sometimes when they hire people,
Come on, say
when
it.
they put people on teams, when they add people to rosters, when they put people in positions, they hire them for the image of what they see and how they can help them shine.
Yeah.
But sometimes in leadership and authority, you can be all of who you are naturally, without trying to overshine, trying to do anything less than who you are. But it can raise a red flag. It can create envy and jealousy and strife. And then it can compromise your position, whether it be a layoff, fire, forced to resign, just because of their own insecurity.
Come on.
And they cover it with excuses. Oh, you're doing too much. You're not distributing the responsibility equally, or whatever someone has told you. But when you know that you have done everything within your ability to perform with excellence, to raise up a company, to be a part of something bigger, an organization, and create change, and everyone's loving it, that does piss people off.
It pisses people off, man.
And there's not a course I've taken in communications in college,
Nothing in college
that prepared me for that.
Nobody could prepare you for that.
As a matter of fact, it seems like the higher I've gotten in each industry I've worked in, I've always faced opposition when it came down to jealousy and envy.
Right. And just you being who you are.
Absolutely.
Naturally.
And that created a war, a strife, a battlefield, to where not only was the work environment toxic, but then my perspective of myself started shifting. And I started saying, well, do I need to do less? I know I won't, because that's in my core.
Right.
But my mindset, the words, the questions started to come about, because it's like almost sometimes you would rather hide a little bit of who you are to appease, as opposed to be all of who you are and be let go of.
Right.
So I think there's a lot to this.
There is a lot.
And unpacking it is beautiful because we made it out of it. We made it out of those times.
And help others out of
And
it.
we help others understand what it's like to come out of that. And when I think about committing yourself unto excellence, committing yourself into a better cause, a bigger thing, you are making a covenant with yourself and to that institution, organization, company, or corporation or team that you are willing to do more than they hired you to do.
Absolutely.
You are willing to put excellence at the forefront of everything that you say, speak, do, perform at.
No matter what anybody says.
No matter what anyone says. And you let the chips fall where they may. But I think the honest part about this all is knowing that not everyone will love you, but more people will hate you. And you have to be okay with that.
You have to be okay. And we're not talking about the nasty, negative energy where it's like, I'm just going to do me or whatever voice. Again, I don't want anybody offended, but you get my point. You don't want to project, I'm just going to do what I want to do, because then you are, in many cases, the toxicity that you feel is being given to you. But this particular episode is not about you being the actual problem.
Right.
It is about the reality that your potential, if you are doing things with excellence, and I'm going to talk more about
integrity,
that, you are raising the bar, and people are actually challenged because you set the bar so high.
Right.
Because you challenged the status quo and the bare minimum. We talked earlier in one of our podcasts and YouTube episodes about the bare minimum mentality.
Yes.
You don't settle for just hearing no, especially if your position, or even in some cases your authority, like in her case, she's the COO, you are given the ability to make those decisions.
Right.
Sometimes you're going to face struggles and challenges because of your potential.
Of course.
I want to bring that back because you said something incredibly important. There was no one in this world that prepared me or could have prepared me for that. Because I always thought that because I was raised in a home that was centered on excellence, because I was a person who was rewarded for the good grades, and also because of the person that I was. I genuinely was liked and respected.
Right.
And also because I thought that everyone And I really did believe this. If you were in a position,
Mhm.
you know, again, this is a naive, you know, I don't call myself a kid. You know, I was a young man
Right.
going into the corporate sector. I thought everyone at that point had established in themselves that they were here for excellence.
Mm.
That if they were given a job and they have a title and they had a
Right,
paycheck
right.
and someone said, this is your responsibility, that
Right.
they owned it
Okay.
and they wanted it and they
Right.
were gonna do best with it. But that's not the truth.
No.
And some people are sitting in positions of leadership. They don't even know how they got there.
Yeah, of course.
So when someone else comes with leadership
Yeah.
or with the things that they are insecure about or don't have themselves, it's very hard to say, man, let me sit back and take some notes from this person or learn from them. Because in the mind, there's a battle where I have to see myself as over
Yes.
them,
Right. Superior.
as opposed to, wow, I can be supported by them.
Right. Right.
Because this was my struggle.
Okay.
I did those things, taking my work to the next level, setting records.
Right.
I brought excellence.
Right.
I wrote SOPs. I led management teams. One ministry in particular, I'll talk about this story hopefully later in this episode. I was over 100 unique individuals in a nonprofit sector. It's not just people coming to volunteer.
Right.
I mean, they were working for us.
Right.
You know,
Right.
and this is ministry.
Of course.
And I was managing them. I spent time with them.
Right.
I mean, these
Develop
people
relationship.
loved
Right.
me.
Right.
But my boss, so to speak, that was over me, didn't love that about me.
Why?
Because he would literally say to me, I guess everybody loves Charles. Everybody wants to meet with you. They don't want to meet with me. I'm not trying to outshine anyone.
Right.
I'm actually trying to help us all shine.
That's right. That's right. That's
I used to
right.
always say, if the whole team is winning, no one's messed up except the person who feels like they're losing.
Thank you. Exactly.
I'll never forget, there were instances in this period of time where I struggled, where I would give my best. I was coaching at a university, a Division I university, and I won't say any names, but I had a person that was over me, and he would pull me in meetings privately and say, you're making me look bad. And I said, but I don't understand how I'm making you look bad. Like, I mean, and you got to understand something. You got to see this. And I would almost say it with tears in my eyes, because this man I considered a mentor.
Mm.
I was doing this because I thought he deserved this level of effort.
Right. So it wasn't that you were making him look bad because you weren't performing.
I was overperforming. And what happened was athletes were going, and I didn't even know this, were going to have meetings with him saying, I don't want you to be my coach. I want to work with him. Because he's doing, like when he says do something, it works.
Yeah.
Now, mind you, this is not me overstepping.
Right.
This
You're
is
just
the
doing
people
what you
that
need to
he
do.
gave me
Right,
to
right,
work
right.
with.
Entrusted with you. Yes.
But when he saw the progress,
Yeah.
and he saw the people and the athletes shift because they'd rather work with me. And let's not forget, because you were there.
Right.
There was a time where he took you in the room and I was your coach.
Right.
And for those of y'all listening, because I know y'all are waiting, like, what's wrong with you? We're going to get there. But just follow, because it's going to help you today. He took you in a meeting and he said, why don't you let me coach you instead of your husband? Would you tell this to our audience? Was that true or not true?
Absolutely.
100% true.
100%.
And he said,
Divisive.
because he says, my athletes are watching what your husband's doing with you, and it's different than what I'm doing in my program with these athletes. And they're wondering, why aren't we doing the same training she's doing? And look how good she is. He's coaching her by himself, and these are the results they're getting as husband and wife.
Right.
You're coaching us, and we're not moving nearly as quickly as this woman is.
Right.
We want to do that.
Right.
So I want people to understand that there's some real legitimacy here.
Right.
But I was overperforming because I wanted him to look good. I knew if his athletes did well, they were going to credit him. And in turn, he would say, Bailey, you're one of my secret weapons. I thought that's what he was going to feel and say. There was another opportunity, to end it. So people say, well, what happened? He got fired.
Big time.
NCAA investigation.
Right. Right.
Had to get lawyers. It was a whole bunch of crazy stuff.
Right.
And I didn't even tell you the story about how it took place, but let's just say God was genuinely protecting us at that time.
Right.
Because we weren't attached to any of that nonsense.
No.
At all.
Right.
But I was so wounded
Yeah.
and I didn't know what to do in my next steps. I didn't have the next move because he was the person that I thought would be
Right.
the bridge
door
for
opener.
me.
Exactly. Right. But you know how many people feel the same way?
Absolutely.
There are people that they've entrusted their whole lives to.
Come
Their
on.
mentors have hurt them.
Breaks my
Their
heart.
ministers have hurt them. Their coaches hurt them.
Yep.
There's so many
Yep.
stories.
And we're not talking
whether
about the
spoken or
sensitivity. We're talking
unspoken,
about absolute disappointment.
right, that squashed their confidence, that wounded what they thought was their purpose too,
Mhm.
you know, because they thought they were purposed to be there for a while and perform and contribute.
Yes.
And then it was shafted. It was taken from
Yep.
them. It
Yep.
was cut short. It
Yep.
was premature.
Yep.
And there's nothing worse than a plant that's blooming
Blossoming.
and blossoming and then uproot it only to not nourish it, put it in a pot and put new fertilizer and soil in it and make it grow again.
Mm.
Letting someone go, NFL team, NBA, letting someone go in professional
We've seen that
sport,
as well. Yep. And some of our clients have gone through
letting someone go in business,
Yeah.
letting someone go in ministry because they were too good or because
that. Man.
they held true to their conviction.
And
We've seen that a
that's
lot,
what we're
especially
talking
through
about.
2020.
And that's when you say, again, back to our topic, your potential could be your problem.
Yeah,
And you have to be okay with that.
that's right.
The
That's
hardest thing is giving yourself one, grace and
Right,
time.
right. And acknowledging that the problem might blindside you and it might hurt you, but because you have so much potential,
Yes.
there is purpose in why you've
In
been
the
planted
pain.
there. And then also there's purpose in thereafter. So you didn't end your life with the NCAA investigation, with that coach being wounded and hurt, not moving on.
Yep.
You took that. You sat with that.
Yeah.
You grieved through that.
Yep.
You were real with it. You were
Mhm.
vulnerable with it.
Mhm.
And then you pivoted.
Pivoted. And you have to.
You have to.
Now, mind you, once again, at this point, I'm still of the same mindset because I'm confident in myself.
Of course.
And I
Because
was,
you know who you are.
and I figure, okay, I have one bad experience. So what? Move on. It hurt.
Oh, it hurt.
I'm not going this path, but
Right.
I needed to know whether or not this is the path for me anyway. I
Right.
think that's another thing some people have to recognize. Sometimes when you lose something based upon your potential, you have to be able to say, okay, well, then that just wasn't my purpose.
You know how hard
It
that is,
wasn't the
though?
direction I
You
was
know
meant to
how
go.
hard that is,
It
though?
is hard. But you either sit there
Yeah.
and focus on the pain of the past the whole time
Of course.
and not progress,
of course.
or you heal
Mhm.
and you move forward because life continues.
I had
No,
a coach,
go ahead.
a D1 coach, contact me and ask me for help
Mm.
because they don't understand their purpose anymore. They still are working in the industry, but because of a couple of unforeseen circumstances, they don't know what to do.
Yeah.
They don't know what the purpose is and why they're serving these athletes.
Yeah. Why they're even coaching.
Why they're even coaching.
Right.
You know, so it goes to say whether you're a coach, athlete,
Entrepreneur, CEO.
entrepreneur,
doesn't matter.
CEO, whatever,
Yeah.
whatever you do,
Right.
your potential can cause a major problem in the environment that you work in. And you have to be okay, number one, acknowledging that. You also have to be okay with understanding that when that ends or when that season or that time shifts, the next is going to be greater.
Yeah.
But don't forget, it could be an ongoing thing.
And that's what
No
we're
matter
gonna talk
where
about.
you go, it could
That's
be
what
ongoing.
I'm talk about.
But you have to make sure that you're anchored.
Yes.
You have to make sure that you're vulnerable with yourself and do the work. And like I
Yeah.
even brought up with him, take that time to grieve, take that time to heal.
Yeah.
Some people really do cut hard. Some organizations really will end your
Yeah,
contract
they
from
will try to
27 years
intend to hurt you.
and will try to intend to hurt you, will set you up, sabotage. Oh, there's so many different
Right.
stories and circumstances. But you have to anchor yourself by knowing who you are,
Yeah.
by developing confidence in who you are.
Mhm.
We talked about that in our last episode,
Yes.
which is brilliant
Yeah.
because it came with vulnerability and honesty.
100%.
And you have to challenge your own belief because some people, after going through all that,
Yes.
they might not believe in themselves.
Right. And that's the reality. And
Like-
sometimes that's what people are hoping.
Right.
They want to do, and I've seen this, there are many data points that suggest that good employees don't leave simply because they're exhausted. They leave because of poor leadership.
Of course. Many.
Right, and
right.
and honestly, that's the reality.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we have to keep making sure we stress the point. We're not talking about one victim mindset people that really are at fault and they should have been gone. They're toxic to the team.
Right.
We're talking about people who bring the numbers, who improve the team.
Right.
And
That's right.
in my case, for instance, there was a situation I had in that same period where I was forced to resign from a job because the person that was over me said, I set the bar too high. Took me in a meeting and he said, well, you're the one that set it so high. So good luck trying to keep the standard to that level. Literal words to me.
Wow.
Would always make sure to say it when no one was around.
Wow.
Brought me in the office. Would even have meetings when I would think is a team meeting. I know this sounds crazy. There was a time this man brought me into a meeting. I thought the whole team was going to be there. It was just us. Just so he can challenge me and say, what do you think this is? The Charles show? And I was like, wait. I was like, what do you mean? And he's like, well, you take these people to the next level, and you're bringing all this personality, and I'm thinking to myself, you mean being myself? You mean being me?
Right.
Authentically?
Right.
You mean the same me that you just got through telling somebody, I feel like I just drafted the LeBron James of this position?
Right.
And that's what I say. I think that's what I mean. You have potential and people see it.
Right.
And they love what they see.
Of course.
Because in their mind, they see, bing, 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 bing,
right,
bing.
This
is look
Elevate
good for
them.
me.
Yeah.
But when your potential starts to elevate you and you're not even seeking it.
Right.
Because you're anointed, you're called. You've chosen to be authentic in yourself, the fullness of yourself. It is hard for people who struggle with their own insecurities and lack of identity to settle for the fact that you know yours.
Right.
And so I say this again because, once again, stressing your potential can be your problem.
That's right.
Now, I've already stressed that I had this happen 3 times and it was literally in a row. Now, I hope that by now you've asked the question, well, there's got to be something wrong with you. Okay, Charles, that's good. What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
Let me tell you. And I'm so proud to be able to say this because years ago, and you remember this, after the 3rd time it happened, 3rd employer in a row, I was looking in the mirror and I'm talking to God and I said, God, why is this happening? I said, is it me, Lord? I was like, really honest, like, what is going on? I said, I'm giving my best to the point where I'm literally blindsided because it's not my employer, but their employer who's coming to me saying like, we're noticing, we see you. In my last position, I think they were considered like a vice president, came to me privately and offered me his position, but wait, at another location. And they told me, don't you say a word to this person about this.
Right.
He found out. And from the moment he found out, it was over.
Yeah.
I didn't say a word.
Yeah, of course.
But the point is I could have taken that promotion, but you and I know ourselves so well that we said, but that's not the vein or the path we wanted to go. Here's where we like to go. And we offered that to them. They just didn't have the position at the time.
Right.
So instead of me being able, listen to me carefully, to stay in that position, he has another private meeting, blind, literally walks me in on the staff off day when no one was in the office. Just me, him, and his best friend. And he says, he's like, I'm going to have to ask you to sign this letter because apparently it's like you said before, you feel like it may be that you are a round peg in a square hole or vice versa. He basically was saying to me that because you know that you're bigger than this, I'm just going to do you a favor and let you go.
Wow. And
he said, and I'll never forget the spite in which he says, and since they want you so bad, we're going to let them figure it out.
Great leadership, huh?
I didn't sign that letter. I'm going to tell you that right now because I had a responsibility to uphold that weekend. I said, you know what, give me a few days. What I'm going to do is I still owe these people because I love them. I minister to them. So I'm going to finish out this task and I'm going to let them know. And watch this. I honored him even when I left. I wrote this letter to my leadership team that I built, bless God, with his help and being allowed to do that. And I told them it was a mutual decision that we both decided that there was more for me. And we thought it'd be a great opportunity for me to explore and go and grow.
Right.
And I thanked them and thanked the people, left with the right attitude and mindset. I didn't cuss. I didn't flip tables.
Professional.
I didn't start saying a whole bunch of stuff. I didn't run my mouth. I didn't start, and honestly, the only thing I called a lawyer and asked, I said, this doesn't feel right. And he says, you have a case. He said, what they've done to you is illegal. But here's what I still didn't pursue. Because I was like, I can't pursue, because what would that look like? If I push them on this, in this particular this case, I will do more damage to my reputation and to the people that I lead than to them.
Okay. Yeah.
So to answer what's wrong with me, I was in the mirror and I asked those questions, and God said, you know why this keeps happening to you? He said, you keep trusting man, other people, with your heart, your destiny. You keep looking to them as if they're the thing that's going to get you to the next step or the next level. He says, they don't know your heart and they don't own it. Only I can do that. See, my potential was my problem.
Yeah.
I was actually the reason why it was happening, not because I was doing anything wrong or bad.
Right.
Because I was freaking great.
Right.
Crushed it.
Right.
They still talk about it. I still have relationships from that.
Right.
But it's because I was actually putting other people in a position in my own mind that stopped looking them as a leader, and I started looking at them like an idol. I idolized them because I always looked at them like they were the thing.
To make,
That if I gave them my purpose and gave them my potential, they would take it, shape it, help me become like them, if not better than them.
Yeah.
I had to learn that that was my potential problem.
First of all, thank you for sharing that.
Absolutely.
That's a lot. That's a lot.
Of course.
And you don't sit in the seat of bitterness, but you sit in the seat of forgiveness.
Absolutely.
And great rapport.
Yeah.
And your name is already speaking great of you. And the beauty is that you left with grace and you left with honor. And you didn't allow sabotage to even enter.
Yeah.
You literally gave honor to your authority. And that's well worthy to be praised. And for the one that might be going through this now, I encourage you to do the same thing. To exit with honor. Because the way that you end a season is the way that you're going to enter another season. So if you're bitter, if you're scorned, if you're hurt, if you are seeking revenge and vengeance, you're only walking into a pit, an abyss of chaos. So for the athlete, for the entrepreneur, for the employee, for the CEO, no matter what position, no matter what level you're on and in and serve as, know that you're entrusted with something.
Yeah.
You're entrusted with how you treat other people when you work for a cause, a mission, or for just the business.
Yeah.
Realize that who you work with can sometimes be your next door opener. So be very careful how you treat them. Be very careful how you treat your leaders. Be very careful how you treat yourself even throughout it. You know, because you could have sabotaged yourself and said, you're right. I'm no good and I'm doing too much. And let me lessen who I am. Let me shrink my talents. Let me shrink my abilities. Let me just blend in.
And that's what people want.
Be safe.
You're either meant to blend in.
Be comfortable.
Or break out.
But you continue to challenge who you were. You continue to soar with excellence.
Yeah.
And it's no wonder why you can coach, you can speak to major league teams.
Yeah.
You can walk into a building and deliver a keynote with no problem because you've done the work. You know how to inspire people. You know how to encourage people. And that's the beauty of the process of development. Because from those areas, you can take what you want and apply it and allow that to shape your personality, allow that to shape, how you see the world, how you see business.
Yes.
And you can also take that and allow yourself to say, now, regardless if this ever happens again, I have matured and I have experienced Those two things are worth it all.
And people don't recognize it.
That's success in my eyes.
And I love you for that. Thank you for that. And I'll tell you, that's the greatest reward anyone can ever have, is the person that loves you most, knows you most, and
Right.
actually walked with you, if you were blessed enough to have that,
Right.
says that you're a success. But I want to say this one last thing too. Ownership is owning that there is potential problems that you will face because of your purpose and your potential.
Right. Right.
But you have to hear me when I say it. It's an old cliche. I think Muhammad Ali said it first. He said, if you're going to go through hell, at least get a reward from it.
Yeah.
And what I can tell you is, and you can see this because this is what's amazing. And I don't want anybody to misinterpret what I'm about to say here, because I'm very well aware of people who are of the mindset that they can just do it all themselves.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we understand the importance of teams.
Mm-hmm.
But when you look at the businesses we've built, who built them? We have.
Right.
When you look at the websites we've built, who built them?
We have.
We
Right.
did.
Right.
When you look at the branding, when you look at the book, who wrote that?
Right. We did.
We did.
Right.
When you look at the relationships that we fostered, when you look at the people we've been able to impact, you know who
Right.
did that?
Right.
We did.
Right.
Every single thing that was intentionally trying to squash your potential, trying to push you, or rather, forgive me for the wrong use of term there, pull you away from purpose
Yeah.
and not push you into your purpose.
Right. Right.
Same thing with me.
Right.
There were skills that I was still sharpening.
Of course. Of course. It never stopped.
There
to be
were
honest.
tools
Right.
that I was developing.
That's right. It was worth it.
When I was told, no, we're not gonna give you that so that you can get a master's degree because we don't think you need it. I get it. In life, maybe you don't need it, but I want it because I want to be educated. I wanted to speak the language of the people that I look up to.
Yeah.
I went and got my master's.
That's right.
Got 2.
Multiple. Right.
I decided that because I wasn't gonna let my potential problem
Mm-hmm.
keep me in any pit
Right.
or under any person.
Right. That's right.
So I said, I'm going to progress.
Right.
So if you're going to go through this, if you are going through this, if you're the athlete that's been cut, if you're the CEO who's struggling, if you're the person who got kicked out or cut out of your own company, if you're
Right.
whatever you're going through, if you're honestly saying you're genuinely giving your best, not the bare minimum and expecting their best, like taking it to the next level.
Mm-hmm.
If you're doing that and this happens to you,
Mm-hmm.
remember you are gaining something
Yeah.
that in the
valuable.
future, you
Absolutely.
just don't know it yet,
That's right.
is going to be the biggest platform you will ever stand on.
Right.
And the stories that, I would say, the stories that people thought would never be told will be the stories that people will pay you to tell.
Right.
I'm going to like that one right there myself. I'm going to be that. You know, the people that like their own stuff on like Instagram, TikTok.
One like.
One like
me.
but it's going to be me. Wow.
Well, thank you.
Thank
you for
you.
sharing that. We hope that encouraged, inspired you, gave you also a bigger glimpse into our lives
Yeah.
and our prowess in our future, how we've been able to transcend
Our image.
our image and also transcend our journey from the pit, the pain, the sorrow, the disappointment, the frustration into
Purpose.
purpose,
Bottom line.
full purpose. So if you need help understanding your purpose, if you need direction or guidance, or you are in a pit or you're trying to transition, we can help you.
We can help you.
We can definitely help you. We understand what it's like. Our clients praise us for being the voice that they need
Yeah.
to hear, to help inspire, encourage, and challenge them in how they can actually make it out and make it up. So,
yeah. Man, you said
Please grab our book if you haven't already. It's here to guide you as well. The Flight of Your Life, The Power of Propulsion. Read it, enjoy it, review it, share it. Make sure also too that you subscribe to our
Yeah,
channel.
please.
You
Join the
like it.
conversation.
You share it with your friends. And if you know someone that's going through a hard time, share this episode
Yeah.
with your people, with your community, with your tribe, and encourage yourself to truly embrace every single moment of your life that will lead you to fulfilling your purpose, because all of that he shared, it makes him who he is today. It allows him to be able to coach from credibility.
That's right.
And it gives him the passion and the purpose
Come
that
on.
is fueled because he understands his potential.
Yeah.
So
And want to help
thank
them
you.
maximize theirs.
Thank you. Thank you. And we are keynote speakers. So if you want to invite us onto your podcast, to your next retreat, your next conference, to inspire a group of individuals, please contact us. You can go right on our website. It is available to you. And on our website, if you want community, if you want an environment that is safe, that will encourage and inspire you, please, please, please contact us as well on our website and
That's
become
right.
a part of our groups. We are here to inspire and to help you fulfill that purpose. So thank you again for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.